Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Maputo Protocol Street Podcast, brought to you by the Partnership of Equality Now, the Solidarity of African Women's Rights, and the Capital Group. I'm your host, Sandra Marondo, and today we're diving deep into the vibrant heartbeat of the Maputo Protocol as it celebrates its 20th anniversary. Now, some of you might be wondering, what in the world is the Maputo Protocol? Well, buckle up because we're about to unravel it. The Maputo Protocol, formerly known as a protocol to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights on the Rights of Women in Africa, is more than just a mouthful. So, let me simplify it for you. It's a set of rules, a guiding light that 49 out of the 54 African countries, including Kenya, have embraced to pave the way for women's rights. But hey, we're not here to throw around legal jargon. We hit the streets of Nairobi, eager to hear what the incredible women and men of Kenya think about these rights. And believe me, the responses were as diverse as the city itself. Some thought-provoking, others, well, let's just say a tad controversial. Join us as we navigate these bustling streets, catching the pulse of these powerful narratives. Are you ready for the ride? So fasten your seatbelts, folks. This is the Maputo Protocol Street Podcast, where the streets talk and we listen. Let's dive in and uncover the untold stories that make the Maputo Protocol more than just a legal document. It's a living, breathing testament to the resilience, strength, and aspirations of African women and men. Stay tuned. A very good morning to you. As you can see, we are in the streets of Nairobi. This is a Maputo Protocol Street Podcast. My name is Sandra Marondo, and you are?
I'm Mary Kimemia. I work with Equality Now in the Legal Equality Program.
Okay, so could you tell us a little bit more about the Maputo Protocol podcast?
Sure. So the Maputo Protocol is a very interesting document. It's an international law document. It's the most progressive international instrument that focuses on the rights and the protection of women and girls. But it's more special because it primarily focuses on the African context.
Okay.
So it's very unique in that it responds to issues and areas that are very uniquely African. And so one of them being the right to inheritance, widows' rights, a very sensitive one being right to reproductive health and reproductive services. So it's arguably the most progressive women's rights instrument globally, to the point where we see the West oftentimes relying and trying to learn and borrow from the protocol. Because a lot of people would ask, what's the point of having the Maputo Protocol when you have the CEDAW and all these other international law instruments that protect women and girls? But with Maputo, it's special because it's uniquely African. It responds specifically to the rights and the needs of African women and girls. I mean, I think we'll stop pushing for it when women and girls have an equal opportunity, have equal access, have equal rights. Because it's true, we have been having this conversation for decades. And an example is this year, the Maputo Protocol celebrated 20 years of existence. So you'd imagine a law that celebrated globally, 20 years on, we'd have nothing, we'd wash our hands, close shop, and be like,
yeah,
great, we've done it.
One-stop shop, it's done.
We're done,
yeah.
We're good. But we see that even now, even in the year of the Lord 2023, women and girls are still marginalized. Women and girls still don't have access to the most basic needs, such as sanitary towels. Women are still being passed over for employment opportunities, even where at times they're even more qualified by their male counterparts.
Yeah.
We still see that within the African continent, and I think one of the oldest countries should be almost 70 years, right? How many women presidents have we had? How many women prime ministers have we had? If we look at our parliaments, how many women do we have? Can we say that we have countries that even have 50%, right? So I think we'll stop having these conversations when we feel that women and girls can now exist and enjoy life at an equal level as our male counterparts.
So today we decided to come to the streets, get to hear different opinions from the common wananchi, and we have our first guest. His name is Emmanuel. Can you introduce yourself to the public?
Well, thank you. My name is Emmanuel Magoba. I am a political science student. And it was very interesting seeing this conversation taking place, especially in the streets, where of course you meet people with, I guess, independent opinion. I'm really happy to be here with you people to at least have this conversation.
Okay. To start with, have you ever heard of the Maputo Protocol before today?
Well, yes. I first heard it in someone's speech, Pielo Lumumba. I think he was speaking on something and he mentioned about African countries signing a number of protocols, and Maputo was one of it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool. Ushaisikia kuhusu Maputo Protocol?
No, sijaisikia.
Before today, ushaisikia kuhusu Maputo Protocol? Hapana.
Yeah, I've heard it, and the work that they are doing is nice. For them to empower women in our society is a good thing.
Have you ever heard of it before?
No.
And
Nimeiona tu nikipita.
umeona tu
Nikakuwa
ikipita,
na interest.
ukakuwa na interest.
Nikaenda na nikarudi.
Sijawahi sikia. Lakini hii ya mambo ya kutetea wanawake, women rights nimeisikia. Lakini Maputo Protocol yenyewe sijaisikia.
No.
Hata kwa news?
Hata.
Nope.
No.
Do you think there's a thing like we are talking about women too much?
It depends. Yeah, because actually when we talk on about leadership and everything, there is a way in which at point we talk about women too much. The feminist ideas and everything. Personally, I don't buy the idea of feminism because I believe that we are all born and endowed with inalienable rights. I mean, we all enjoy rights to life, we all enjoy rights to food and all those rights. So, but talking of leadership, I feel like we have to put our women at almost equal shares to be able to champion for these rights and allow them go for these spaces just the same as we men take part in those initiatives.
But there's something interesting you've said, that we all have the same rights, we all are entitled to the same rights. But would you say we all access and enjoy those rights the same
On an
way?
equal measure.
Actually, these rights are accessible to all of us.
Are they though?
Are they?
Which one is not?
A lot of times, especially in the rural areas or the poorest parts of the country, would you say that a daughter of the home would be taken to school instead of the son of the home?
And that's why I said that Maputo Protocol is well welcomed in a number of African states. And I started by saying that all along our women have been neglected. I mean, there has been a discrimination of nature whereby our women were not allowed to freely access the education and even political positions. And that's why coming up with a union, or rather an agreement that champions for this idea is actually embraced.
Yes.
But we just need to make it 50-50, as I said, so that we won't be having empowered women and unempowered men. That won't be equality. And I hope you are also championing for equality.
Kila siku madem. Kwani tutaacha kuempower lini?
Like, like it's a bit challenging, you know, like as much as watu wana empower madem sana, like for boy child wameshawasahau, ni kama neglect pande ingine. Na for me, I know in any universe, in anything for people to achieve more, lazima kuwe na kitu ka balance, you know. So like ni kama overdo tu sana. Boy child kwa society wanamchukulia kama tuseme like ni kama the head, obvious, the head, ndio. So like many things pressure iko kwake, so kuna venye unaweza enact ndio hiyo pressure kiasi yenye ana go through, unaona, through these things. Like even right now, if I can say, like kuna organization ngapi zimekama from boy child? Siwezi mention hata 10 hata 5 sidhani. Cause wanachukulia wanaume they can sort themselves out.
Tukifika mahali tuna agree ka society men and women are equal,
Yes.
utaanza kuona hizo ni what tunaita hizo intersectionality, utaanza kuona venye hizo vitu zinaanza kushikana such that ikifika mahali tukisimama hapa tunaona tuko equal, not the same, tuko equal, kila mtu akona equal responsibilities, equal rights, equal access, and how we start working towards that ni women and men are viewed equally. Wakona equal access, wakona equal opportunities, wakona equal rights.
So when is it gonna happen? Hizo talks.
It's already happening. This is it. The Maputo Protocol, which was adopted in Maputo, Mozambique, is considered one of the most progressive and comprehensive women's rights instruments in the world. It recognizes a myriad of rights for women and girls, including reproductive health and rights, protection from discrimination and all forms of violence, economic rights, social cultural rights, access to justice and political rights, among others. Kenya has ratified the Maputo Protocol, so we sought to establish whether Kenya has made these rights a reality. Speaking of, we have a couple of questions here. We'd like you to pick one or a couple, read it out loud, and give your honest opinion or answer. Basically, your thoughts on it.
No, this is not mine.
Okay, let me pick one for you then.
Have you ever been denied a job or forced to quit because you are pregnant? No?
No.
No.
Have you heard of anyone who's had that kind of experience?
Yeah. So there's this friend of mine. She's in campus right now, second year. She was applying. Okay, she worked at a certain company where they sell clothes, and unfortunately, by good or bad luck, she got pregnant, and the girl had no parents, neither husband. So, and the company's manager told her to just quit the job because she could not manage. So the girl she was like, no, I can do it. And the manager was like, no, you can't. So she was forced to quit it.
Did she know it was illegal to start with, to be forced to quit because of pregnancy?
No, I guess she wasn't empowered. So she had no idea if it's legal or illegal. So she just quit it.
So the Maputo Protocol is it's an African international instrument that seeks to protect women and girls in Africa with a very unique context and focus in Africa. So in the Maputo Protocol, Kenya is a party. Kenya is bound by the Maputo Protocol. And in Article 13 of the protocol, under Article 13, it guarantees women's equal opportunity to economic and social protection, and one of them is being protected from discrimination on the basis of your pregnancy. But even in Kenya, looking now inwardly, the Constitution under Article 27 protects women, and it protects women and girls from being discriminated, because that one was discrimination, where you're being fired or being asked to quit a job because you're pregnant. And so that's actually a violation of the law in terms of the Constitution, but also the Employment Act.
Ushai kuwa shamed because of having periods?
Ilikuwa shule sana nini moja tuko nini mixed up ya boys and girls. Sasa hiyo siku saa mjua yangu haiwezi sijui ni which day hivyo. Sasa ikanianzia niko kwa class. Hiyo siku nilikaa the whole day kwa desk bila kutoka nje. Sasa siwezi toka nje ile hata naogopa kuambia my neighbor niko hivi.
Ulikuwa na pads hiyo day?
Hiyo day sikuwa nayo. Sasa ilibidi niambie friend wangu ndo akaenda akaniambia kwa cha. Ilikuwa hard tangu nimwambie ilikuwa. Yeah, lakini mimi na suggest like government like si nini trust condom wanauza ni free. Pads zinafaa zikuwe free.
Kwanza ukienda choo tunazionanga tu.
Nafasi mmoja kuna wale mademo watumia hata pad juana, wengine wanatumia tissue. Inafaa ikuwe free kwa usi wakienda mademo wanapatiwa free like condom hivyo.
When it comes to periods, what are your thoughts?
Kama wakati wetu tulikuwa tunaogopa. kama wakati wetu tulikuwa tunaogopa, we are in darkness, but nowadays at least tunawaenlighten walikuwa wana kama wakati huu wakipata like my daughter wakati alianza it was like you are there like a mother to make your daughter mwambie hii ni kitu ni normal. Alikuwa like amekonjeka hata hawezi toka nje, babi what aibu hata nataka kutoka nyumba. Sasa as a mother unamwambia this is normal for every woman.
Ni nini inakuwa shanga sana when it comes to ukifikiria kwa msichana hii Kenya si poa?
Ile life yenye wasichana wanapitianga na mashida ni ngumu sana. Unajua kuna ile style yenye kama for example kuna yenye wanaendanga MP na anado ya kunini ya kubuy pads. Ni ngumu, labda kuna single parent na labda ni baba. Sasa ni ngumu kumwambia daddy nibaie hii, umeona. Sasa ni ngumu, like me niko na single parent na ni babangu. So umeona niko mdogo nilikuwa nashinda kumwambia daddy nimeanza period nibaie pads.
Uli navigate aje?
Nilikuwa naambia aunti yangu hivyo. Sasa bado nasikia aibu ile.
Na ukisikia gumu kuuliza dad akubaie pads, ulikuwa unasikia ugumu juu una feel embarrassed ama juu una feel haezi understand hata elewa
embarrassed.
Jipata kwa scenario enye a man was hired where you lost a job or you lost an opportunity, alafu mwanaume akaekwa mbele yako, yet you're equally capable, nyinyi wote mko na degree?
Ilikuwa like okay, shule wakiajiri walimu wanaona like una preferences, so kama ni chance ya wote napata kwa kuna vile wana they favor the men such that kama mko wawili a man and a lady, mwanaume ndiye atachukuliwa regardless of the qualifications. So hiyo ishanifanyikia, nilisikia vibaya sana kwa sababu like Sage alikuwa better than
Maputo Protocol iko na articles hizo specific laws. So kuna moja yenye inaongelelea equal economic and social welfare, na moja wazo ni equal access to employment, na inasema mwanamke na mwanamume wanafaa wapewe equal opportunity. Na pia tukikuja nyumbani tukiangalia context ya Kenya, the Employment Act also speaks to this and the Constitution inasemanga akufai kukuwa na instance under Article 27 mahali mwanamke ametritiwa tofauti ama less than kwa sababu ya kukuwa mwanamke. So next time hiyo kitu ikikufanyikia, unamwambia you know the law, unajua sheria na hivyo venye wanafanya kisheria haikubaliki, si ndio? Na hivyo venye tumesema kuna hiyo preference ya wanaume over men, pale umeandikwa kuna instances where your male colleague analipwa more kuliko.
Ndio huwa inafanyika hiyo. Mahali nafanya kazi men huwa wanalipwa pesa mingi.
Wewe ama any of your female colleagues, kuna mtu amewahi jaribu kuapproach director wa shule ambaye tume notice James pale sisi wawili tunafundisha PP1, class yake iko na students 30, niko na students 30, pia mimi niko na BA, ako na BA, lakini James analipwa 50 na mimi mnanilipa 25.
Okay. Mara nyingi vile huwa inafanyika kwa private, salary huwa inakuwa ni wewe na mwajiri. So in case uenda raise something like that, and obviously watakufuta tu, sababu wanasema tulidiscuss na wewe vile ulikuja kuulizia kazi, so it must remain between me and you.
Ushaipitia any form of gender-based violence ama unajua mtu mwenye ashaipitia?
Sijaipitia. My friend tulikuwa tunaishi nao same area, so alikuwa na sasa tulikuwa age 17 hapo, tulikuwa the same age. Alikuwa na huyu boyfriend alikuwa almost 20 years.
So boyfriend ile mwenye sasa tulikuwa si bado tuko shule, anamkazia ile waende wafanye sex, na yule dem anakuja ananiambia huyu boy anasema tuende tufanye sex, na mwambie hiyo ni bado yule dem ndio sababu vile anampenda, anasema yeye anataka. Sasa kuna day alienda kwake kumtembelea, yule boy alimreping. Sasa alimrep, sasa angeweza kuambia mamake juu alikuwa anapenda yule boy, sasa atakia shikwe. Akaendanga tu hivi home nzuri, akupatanga ball, ilikuwa favor akupatanga ball, lakini hiyo kitu alibaki ngitoa regret hadi saa hii anarudi chini. Aliendanga usai think so ndio kuniambia, lakini aliniambia kupata ball but alikuwa analia.
Kwa hiyo story ilikuwa the girl child alikuwa kama tuseme tu like unajua misunderstanding kiasi, but sasa ikafika part yenye maybe not all people wanakuwa understand things, so they go extra mile, maybe akaua, unaona. So yeah, so
Nani akaua nani?
like the boy child
Aliua demu yake.
Tuseme like story yao ilikuwa like tuseme hidden, unaona, ni kama the way people see us right now, maybe with the smiles, but inside
Deep down, yeah, kwa ground.
Women are the majority victims, but it covers men and women. But ilikuwa so important kukuwa na hilo kwa sababu I think about more than half of victims of or instances of gender-based violence result in the death of the partner.
Yeah.
Zile rights Maputo Protocol ina protect, na one of them ni protection against sexual and gender-based violence, na hata Kenya tuko na law inaitwa prevention against gender-based violence. Hiyo ni law, tuseme angeenda hosi aende a report, hiyo law ndio ingetumikana kupeleka chali yake.
Sasa alikuwa anapenda uchali yake.
So hakureport. Na kwa tumesema hakukwambia tungetaka kujua kama venye alienda hosi alisema amerepiwa, juu hosi ukisema umerepiwa wanafaa wafuatilie na iende kwa polisi.
Sina kaya kusema hakurepwa juu ile alifosiwa
because of the trauma that comes with an incident like being raped. Before mtu alikuwa anaenda kwa polisi, unapewa P3 form, unaenda nayo hosi, ndio unafill, ndio unarudisha kwa polisi. But now P3 forms ziko available at the hospital. Ndio unaanza hospitali, daktari anakufilia hiyo P3 form, so unapeleka P3 form imesainiwa. A lot of people were not reporting when they've been raped kwa sababu utaanza na polisi, uende kwa polisi unapata ni polisi mwanaume ako hapo, huwezi anza kumweleza hizo vitu. So to fix hiyo, it was a systemic, ilikuwa shida ya system.
Hakuna mtu mwenye ana look up for boy child, hakuna msee mwenye anakaa asikize boy child side yake, unaona. It's all about girl child, you see. So hapo ndo point inaanzia. If you want something kuimaliza, you must see source yake ni nini. See,
it's increasingly becoming important to have the discussion of what is the root cause of sexual and gender-based violence.
But you see,
the perpetrators are the root cause, right? Now we're bringing men to the table and to the conversation and saying, nyinyi ndio mnatupiga, nyinyi ndio mnatuua.
And we answer the question marks. Why? What is the issue?
What nini? And so we know a lot of times young women and even girls are sometimes in those situations forced maybe to get an abortion. Do you know of someone who's opted to get an abortion, either for different reasons?
Yeah, I know of one. He was in Form 4 and she lived with her aunt, and her aunt is a pastor, so because of the discrimination,
Religion,
so she had to do an abortion, but it was successful.
From my definition of abortion, I think ladies are meant to have pregnancy, but the moment where the pregnancy supersedes the health of the lady, or maybe untimely pregnancy, I think having an abortion is not bad. No? Yeah. And I think the government also allows that. We also have pharma industries that are bringing in products for that. So it's not something that is illegal.
Kama mama, tuseme sahi my daughter si yako shule. It happens. You can't deny it. It happens, ikihappen, kama mzazi, huyo mtoto unafaa kumshikilia na umwambie hiyo sio, that not the end of the world.
Na akikuja akwambie na sawa, nimekusikia na asanti kwa kuwa na mimi, lakini nataka abortion.
Sasa mimi niko hapo kwa sababu tunajua abortion sio mzuri. Hapo kuna mambo mbili. Chances ni ngapi? Chances ni mbili. Kukufa ama kupona.
Do you believe that women have the right to control their bodies, their reproductive health, to do what they see fit?
Yeah, because it's my body, it's my choice. What I do with it, it's mine. Mimi siwezi kubali abortion. For one, kuna disadvantages ya abortion. Maybe naweza mu-advise twende tufanye abortion, then in future aje akose mtoto. So to me, I would prefer nikae na yeye, nimshike kama mtoto wangu.
Umle.
Yeah, nimle. And then tamu-advise on how to venye ataweza kujisaidia next time isi happen hivyo. Lakini kumwambia abortion, inaweza leta hata kifo. Unaona? And then who is to be blamed? Like ile shule nilikuwa nasoma used to be checked. And something funny, hatukuwa tunachekiwa na ile, unajua ile kucheck na urine. Hatukuwa tunachekiwa urine, wanaenda wanapeleka kwa lab. They used to finya us, wanaangalia kama you are pregnant. There was a time I remember I was in Form 2. Msichana by the name Violet alipatanga bono. You used to ukifinywa hivyo mnapelekwa kwa cube fulani. And then venye alipata ball akaambia mamake. Mamake alimpatia dawa alafu akaenda shamba. Mama kurudi mtoto alikuwa ashakufa. Lakini before kufe baba aliingia akamuuliza what happened. Then kuelezea akaambia baba what happened. Imagine mtoto kuelezea tu hivi na akakufa. Sasa umeona mtoto amekufa. Marriage imebreak. Wewe pia umeluzi mtoto. So it's better even ukae naye hapo. Kenye unakula wakule, lakini advice on her.
If you go and get it done by someone who's not a medical professional. Lakini sasa medically kwa hospitali, madaktari, nurses wako na hiyo training, wako na hiyo facility. Lakini challenge imekuwa society bado tunaamini hii kitu ni mbaya. Either utakufa ama so inakataliliwa kabisa. Inakataliwa kabisa.
Ikifika ni risk places ati akipata mtoto nikipata mtoto itaniletea shida, then that one will be okay. Lakini hii ingine me as a Christian
In as much as we have the laws in our country, some of us still cling to their cultural norms. So we need to have a lot of sensitization on the leaders also. And we are forgetting, most of these leaders are not informed. You know, we don't choose leaders based on their level of academic whatever, you know. So currently you are electing leaders based on their pockets. So we need to have a sensitization from the national government itself, mostly the parliament. They should be sensitized. And even we also have other groups like the NGOs doing that on the behalf of the government. You see, personally, abortion, most of the unsafe abortions are done because one, they're done. The mothers or the victims, they feel that they're being victimized. They do it illegally.
Yeah.
Or they're using unsafe ways of doing it, which should not be encouraged. Yeah.
Article 14 of the Maputo Protocol requires states to ensure that women and girls have access to safe and legal abortion services as part of their right to health, now looking at sexual and reproductive health. But we also see in our constitution under Article 26,
yes,
it does provide for access to abortion, but with certain qualifiers.
Yes, if it brings harm to the mom yes,
or to the baby. But interestingly enough, so for the longest time, it says if it's a danger to the mother's health.
Yes.
So for a very long time, we assumed that it was physical health. But recently, the High Court pronounced itself and said that even mental health qualifies as health.
Yes.
So where a woman or a girl feels like carrying on this pregnancy will be detrimental to her mental health,
yes,
she should be guaranteed access to safe and legal abortion.
Yes.
You should actually be able to access this at any government health facility, because this is a document that binds healthcare workers to ensure that if a woman comes to that clinic or that hospital seeking that service, they should actually be guaranteed that service.
Do you believe that women have the right to inherit equal share of their familial property, regardless of their marital status?
I think currently it is also that's what's happening in Kenya. People have embraced this, and it's happening, and we also support it. Because at the end of the day, I'm a father to a child, a girl child, to a boy child. These are all my kids. They must have equal rights to my property.
Whether the girl is married in another family.
Getting married to someone is not important to me. What's important is that this is my child, this is my daughter, this is my sister. I don't have any problem sharing her property with her.
Huyu ambaye hajaolewa na hako nyumbani tukimpa mali nyumbani hata kuwa na bidii ya kuolewa. Kwa hivyo utawaona wasio na urithi ama mtu ambaye hana tumaini lingine kule ataweza kuvumilia kwenye ndoa. Huyu mwenye ako na mali nyumbani akienda kule apate changamoto kidogo, anasema nyumbani kuko sawa. Urithi wake kama atapata usiwe moja kwa moja, isiwe haki yake. Okay?
Isiwe haki yake.
Isiwe haki kisheria. Yeye awe considered na familia.
In the family, you say you have 2 brothers and there's daughters, then wasichana wanaonekana hawafai kungaliwa shamba. So long as ulizaliwa, hata kama umeolewa, uko na right ya mali ya
uko na right na hata the law.
Yes.
Sheria,
hata sheria
inasema.
Lakini akipewa iwe ni haki moja kwa moja, inamuondoa kwenye ndoa na inamkosesha ile kujituma kwenye ndoa. Mwanamke ni wa kuolewa, na mwanamke akishaolewa anakuwa mali ya mumewe. Mali ya mumewe ndio inakuwa mali yake.
One thing we are trying to forget, as much as we are discussing about the Maputo Protocol, we also have to understand that where we come from, we have environment, we also have laws. We also both laws and bylaws. We also have cultural norms that have dictated how women have been perceived in the society for so many years.
Yes.
Let me just highlight a few. One is on the inheritance of property. In some other cultures, women are not allowed to have property, but it varies from one culture to another.
After giving those birth, hiyo watoto wote, my husband passed away. And like me, I was mourning my husband. Na kumbe hawa in-laws nao wanakimbia kule kuchukua, kusign, you're supposed to be there, mwili ukipelekwa ndani na mwili ukitoka. So there was like me na mourn hapa, na kumbe mtu mwingine akili yake iko mbali kwa mali. So hiyo ndio ishainifanyikia na ni real na ni kitu very painful.
Mwanamke akishaolewa, mali ya mume wake ndio inakuwa mali yake.
So tukianza na Maputo Protocol, kuna right to inheritance.
Yeah.
Na hiyo haiongelelei tu wasichana na wavulana wanafaa warithi the same, but pia inaongelelea na pia the right of widows, that the wife, the widow has the right to inherit the property of her husband and to keep the custody of her children, period. So Article 21 ya Maputo inasema a woman and a man shall have equal right to inherit their parents' property. Law of Succession Act inasema the same. Na kwa Law of Succession Act, watoto hawaonwi either mtoto wa kiume, mtoto wa kike. Sheria inaona watoto.
Would you vote for a female president? Personally, I might. But then I don't feel she will win, and I like winning. I don't feel like she will win because I read a book. Was it Blossoms of Savannah? It's actually a set book that has been given to schools in this nation to read as a compulsory set book. And there is a sentence, and I want to quote it: women as their own enemies. So women actually don't have a problem with women, but then women as their own enemies. Well, one, I'll vote her because of her ideologies, because of what she is in for, because actually some women leaders make sense, but others do not. I don't want to mention names, but even in this country, we've seen a number of them misbehaving in those offices. Well, I don't mean that men do not misbehave.
Okay.
Yeah.
But well, some have done some explicit jobs in this nation. The reason as to why she cannot win, it is because of women.
You have clearly showed us that Maputo Protocol has a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And we're
As
in
we
the right
speak,
place.
yes.
We're in the right place. These are things to ponder on, right? Thank you so much for your time. So now you know. You can go educate your friends, your family. Thank you so much for your time. Implementing this article will move us closer to the aspirations of the African Union's Agenda 2063's vision of fully empowered women with equal access and opportunity in all sectors of their lives, once all African states fully comply with their duties under the Maputo Protocol.